Hello and welcome to Grief Seeds, a podcast where you'll find insights, reframings, metaphors, and visualizations, all known as grief seeds, to help you cultivate growth and healing in your life after loss. My name is Shelby Forsythia. I'm an intuitive grief guide and author, and on this show, I'll share insights from my interactions with clients, wise words from fellow grievers, and personal stories from my own life, with the hope that they transform your grief as they have transformed mine. Because even when it doesn't feel like it, we are planting the seeds of growth in the midst of great pain and heartache. Your grief is welcome here. Hi there, grief growers, and welcome to another episode of Grief Seeds. Thank you so much for joining me this week. I would like to extend an invitation to you to join me in wait and see mode. And here's what I mean by this. I was once working with a client who was wrestling with the death of a beloved friend, and she knew in her life after loss that she was going somewhere, that she still had more life left to live, that she had goals for herself, that either continued to exist from life before her loss or had been modified to fit the person that she was becoming in life after loss, but she didn't know how to get there yet. It was as if the map that she was using was intact, but the place and the way that she was looking for did not yet exist. There were not words to define what she was trying to get at. There was not a clear picture of how to get to the destination, and there wasn't even a feeling or an intuitive sensation that told her which way to go. It was almost as if she was frozen in time, or like she was biding her time and waiting for signs, for symbols, for progress, for milestones to offer direction on where and when she was supposed to move next. And this can be a frustrating experience in grief because for most of us, especially those of us that live in westernized society, we live in a world that prizes and values and puts a lot of weight on certainty, of knowing who you are, of knowing where you're going, of knowing what your story is and how you define yourself in the world. And let me tell you, if you don't know this yet, grief and loss will take all of that away from you. So the invitation that I extended to her during our session was, what if you were allowed to be in a metaphorical waiting room? What if your current status, the thing you knew for sure, was that your job was to wait and see? What if you didn't have to define yourself yet? What if you didn't have to know which way to go? What if a firm decision was not required of you? What if you didn't have to start walking that path or any path on the map just yet? If you're anything like me, and I imagine that you might be, since you're listening to this podcast, you're grieving, you know the pressure that comes with trying to make sense of your grief, trying to find the words for it, the direction for it, the labels for it, even the new identities that you are meant to settle into in life after loss. There's a lot of pressure that comes from society, our jobs, the people around us, our family and friends, but also internally too. To know who we are, to know what we're doing, to know where we're going, and to know how the hell we're getting there. But in life after loss, we're not always provided those answers, especially not right away. They are things that we come to, they're things that we find for ourselves, and sometimes they're things that arrive to us. They show up on our doorstep. They are gifted to us by other people who see and witness us. They deliver themselves to us through books, through podcasts, through TED Talks, through other resources that we somehow come to consume on our road in life after loss. but they don't arrive all at once, and they might not be here for you yet. And if that's the case for you, this invitation is still open to you. To be in, at least right now, for the time being, in this season, in something called wait and see mode. You are allowed to be suspended in this space of not knowing, on this rope bridge between two solid pieces of stone. Over a canyon, don't know what's at the bottom. Don't know what my next step will be other than forward, tomorrow, this week, next week. Don't have labels yet. Don't have words. Don't have language. Don't have frameworks. Don't have a guesstimate for time, how long it's going to take me to get there. Don't have a guesstimate for speed, the pace at which I'm going to arrive there. And I hope that wait and see mode for you feels like permission to just be where you are, because that's already a lot of work in grief, to exist and be present in wait and see mode. And here's something else. If you're itching to do something in wait and see mode, if you're itching to apply yourself to something, to make it feel as if something is being accomplished while you're here, really lean into the see part. Almost everybody can wait. We're all pretty good at waiting, pausing, taking a breath, resting, which we require a lot of in grief. But the second part of this, see, wait and see. I offer you this opportunity to look around at your world, perhaps in ways that you haven't before. Maybe more closely, maybe from a far distance, maybe with the eyes of a loved one that you've lost, or someone else that you really admire. Maybe with glasses, metaphorically, of play or creativity. Maybe with a lens of spirituality or religion, if those things are true for you. How can you shift your perspective in where you are right now so that you see, or offer yourself a chance to see, differently than you are today? I've had clients who have taken up photography in life after loss, and they've been challenged to see the world in different ways. I had another client who was so in a space of longing for signs and symbols that together we made a list of things that reminded her of a person she lost, and she would almost go into the world looking for them like a scavenger hunt. Where can I find the red jacket that he used to wear? Can I see a cat today? Is there somewhere on a billboard, in a magazine, that's going to say the word love? How can I find or see these things differently as I am doing the great work of waiting in grief? And also, as you wait, I hope you will maintain this knowledge, this wisdom, that this burden of knowing is not all on you. It is not the full extent of your job in life after loss to figure out who you are, where you're going, how you're getting there, how fast, at what speed, in what time. It's not all your job. You have a companion now whose job it also is to do this heavy lifting with you, i.e., grief. And I welcome you too to open up conversation with your grief, with your loss, with your loved one if you have lost someone to death. Help me see, help me know. Sit with me in the waiting. Show me what's next. Offer me something I have never had a chance to look at before. Find new glasses. we can wear together. You have someone else, a companion, also carrying this burden of knowing with you, whose job it also is to start to wrap words around the thing, to start to point you in a direction, to start to tell you who you are. And so as you wait and see, I invite you to release this pressure to know for sure, to be certain of anything in life after loss, to invite grief to do its share of the chores as well. And especially when it comes to the seeing part of wait and see, to be willing to try on new glasses, to be willing to shift your perspective, metaphorically or literally, to be willing to hang upside down. One of the great gifts of life after loss is the incredible freedom you have to reshape your world. While it's a grand rock bottom, it is also a grand starting over. And the more ways that you choose to see right now, the more paths you'll have the option to take when it's time for you to move again. I invite you to take a deep breath in with me here. And out. May you, grief grower, as you wrestle with this pressure, with this obligation to be certain about who you are in your life after loss, to know where you're going, to know what you're doing, to know how fast you're getting there, to know when you'll arrive, and to know what you're calling yourself as you do it. May that all be released and dropped from your open hands. And in their place, may your hands stay open to all the ways that you can see and know and learn differently in life after loss. May you put on new glasses. May you try on new clothes. May you walk by new windows or mirrors that offer you the opportunity in your waiting to see yourself and the world and your relationship to grief differently. May you partner with grief in wait and see mode, so that as you are learning from grief, as you are experiencing the waves of emotions in life after loss, may each new wave bring you new ways of seeing in your waiting as well. May you enlist the help of grief. Show me what you'd like me to see. Tell me what should happen next. Tell me what I should call myself as this continues, and help me know with ringing truth and clarity when the best definition, when the best path, when the best time frame, when the best label, and when the best destination arrives. May you know that wait and see mode is not a space of passivity, but a great center and locus of activity, a brewing pot, a cauldron of ideas, of possibilities, of perspectives that can only inform and only aid you as you walk the road or prepare to walk the road of life after loss. I invite you to take a deep breath in with me here and out. Thank you so much for joining me today on Grief Seeds. So that's all for this episode of Grief Seeds. Thank you so much for listening today. You can find additional grief support at shelbyforsythia.com or by following me on social media at shelbyforsythia on Facebook and Instagram. If this podcast helped you in your life after loss, please leave a review and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen. And be sure to share Grief Seeds with a friend, because you never know what someone you love is going through. A huge thank you to my Patreon supporters for financially keeping this podcast on the air. If you'd like to support Grief Seeds on Patreon through a yearly or monthly pledge, you can do so at patreon.com/shelbyforsythia. My Patreon supporters get access to behind-the-scenes content, including a once-a-month grief support call with me and 5 90-minute workshops with topics decided by grievers themselves. Again, that website is patreon.com/shelbyforsythia. Music for Grief Seeds is performed by Addie Goldstein. As always, my dear grief growers, it was beautiful sharing this space and time with you today. I see you. I am so proud of you and the work that you're doing in the world. And I love you. Because even through grief, we are growing.